In an age long past, in the kingdom of Devpura, there lived a young prince named Suryaketu. His mind was as sharp as a sword, and his heart, noble and true. But he faced a peculiar challenge that many couldn't understand. He felt an overwhelming confusion clouding his thoughts, especially when it came to his destiny. Unlike other princes who grew up following clear paths laid out for them, Suryaketu was burdened by uncertainty. He was often torn between different desires. Should he become a warrior like his father, a scholar like his grandfather, or a spiritual seeker like his great-uncle, who had renounced the world? This confusion led Suryaketu to wander aimlessly through the palace gardens, staring at the flowers and pondering his future, but the more he thought, the more lost he became. His indecision began affecting his decisions, and people started noticing. His once radiant relationships with his family and friends began to falter. His subjects whispered about the prince who could not choose his path, and some even doubted his ability to rule. One day, in a fit of frustration, Suryaketu sought the counsel of a wandering sage, Vayun, who had once been a great advisor to the kingdom's elders. Vayun was known for his wisdom and his connection to the gods. The prince found him meditating near a sacred river and humbly asked, "Great sage, my mind is clouded, and I am overwhelmed by doubts. I do not know which path to follow. How do I make sense of this confusion?" Vayun opened his eyes and looked at Suryaketu. He saw the turmoil in the prince's heart and nodded. "Confusion, dear prince, is like the great labyrinth of Maya. It is said in ancient tales that every individual must face the labyrinth at some point in their life. The labyrinth appears before them, filled with paths leading in every direction. At first, the paths seem easy to follow, but soon, they intertwine, and you lose track of where you started. Each turn leads to another maze of questions, and each question gives rise to more doubts." Suryaketu, curious yet frustrated, asked, "But how does one find their way out of this maze? How does one clear the fog of confusion?" Vayun smiled gently. "Ah, there is a legend you must know, prince. It is about the sun god, Surya, and his chariot driver, Aruna. Long ago, Surya's chariot was moving across the sky, but on one fateful day, a shadow fell upon it. Aruna, who drove the chariot, was lost in the darkness of doubt. He could not see where to go, and he feared that the sun would not rise the next day. His confusion grew until he was paralyzed by it, unable to act. Just as Aruna despaired, Surya's voice called to him. "My dear Aruna, confusion is natural, but it is only through movement that you will find your way. Sit still and you remain lost, but as you move forward, the fog will begin to clear. Just as the chariot moves and the sun rises, your action will bring clarity to your mind." Suryaketu was intrigued. "So, the key to overcoming confusion is to take action, even when I don't have all the answers." The sage nodded. "Exactly. Confusion is a result of overthinking, of trying to control every outcome. But like Surya's chariot, sometimes you must move forward without seeing the entire path. With every step, the fog will lift and the answers will appear. When you stand still, you give the confusion power. But when you move, you take charge of your fate." Suryaketu sat quietly, reflecting on the sage's words. Vayun continued, "And there is something else. You must learn to listen to the silent voice within you, the voice of your true self. In the labyrinth of Maya, there are many paths, but there is only one true path that aligns with your inner being. To hear it, you must learn to be still enough to listen to your heart, beyond the noise of doubts." Suryaketu left the sage with a newfound understanding. Over the next few days, he took small steps. He started making decisions, even if they seemed uncertain at first. He did not wait for the fog to lift completely before acting. With each action, the confusion in his mind began to dissipate. The more he moved forward, the clearer his path became, and he discovered that his true calling was a combination of all his desires, a ruler who would bring wisdom, courage, and spiritual peace to his people. In time, Suryaketu grew into a wise and beloved king. He had learned that confusion wasn't something to fear or avoid. It was an inevitable part of life, a challenge to face and learn from. He had overcome the labyrinth by embracing action and trusting in the clarity that would follow. Confusion is not a barrier. It is an invitation to find clarity through action.